with live coverage of today's qualifying. This is INDYCAR Radio.
In the shadows of the iconic Gateway Arch in St. Louis, welcome to Worldwide Technology Raceway. Mark James, Davey Hamilton, the whole crew set to take you through the next hour or so. And Davey, by the time we are done, the field will be set for tomorrow's Monterito Automotive Group 500. Going to be an interesting qualifying session.
Yeah, it is. You know, obviously rain delayed. We moved everything back. There was absolutely no rubber on this racetrack whatsoever when these cars went out on track to take their practice runs. So it's going to be kind of the single line. They're all going to take the same line of qualifying right here. I think the track's going to get faster as it goes, and I think these guys are going to be able to push it. I'm not sure in 45 minutes they really had a chance to be able to tell what they have for qualifying, but it's going to be interesting to see. I think Abel goes out first in that 51 car, and we're just going to play it by ear. But Josef Newgarden, Mark, I mean, the guy that has this place master was fastest in practice by quite a ways, actually, so no surprise to see him run last when the track's probably at its very best with the most rubber down and be on top.
So 9 starts, 5 wins, and a couple of poles for Josef Newgarden in his career here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. And I'll tell you, we're a far cry conditions-wise from what greeted us when we arrived here earlier today. With more on that, here's Michael Young.
Good afternoon, Mark James. Yes, it has certainly warmed up. The winds aren't nearly as bad as they were earlier this morning. They were coming from the north, and they were very gusty. Coming from the northeast now, they've settled down as the afternoon has progressed, and this front has moved its way through. 86 is our ambient temperature right now, so we're up 4 degrees from where we were earlier. Track temperature is 117 degrees, so optimal conditions. And I would imagine at some point throughout this qualification session, we might see the sun peek behind some clouds and maybe put a little shade on this racetrack. And if that's the case, we may even see some quicker speeds here at Worldwide Technology Raceway.
And looking forward to it. And Team Penske looking pretty good in that first practice session earlier today, Jake.
Yeah, Scott McLaughlin was very stout. He and his teammate Josef Newgarden second and first respectively on the speed charts. Take me through just exactly how that car did feel so far here.
Really good start. Just trying to get through the motions and whatnot, but we'll see what we got. I think it's running a very similar car to what we ran last year, so it always makes you feel confident as a driver, but so we just got to let it rip and see what we got.
I'm always curious, especially in a place like this where you do have weather extremes over the course of the year at Worldwide Technology Raceway, how has it changed from a year ago?
Well, I think coming here with a hybrid for the second time, I guess you could say, is a really good feeling. Temperature a little lower than last year, so it makes it a little bit difficult for the engineers to sort of figure out and work out the balances and whatnot. I just get in it, man, and just send it and see what we got.
I wish you the best of luck.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Scott McLaughlin, Mark.
He's not stacked up the wins, Davey, but still plenty stout here in 4 starts, a second, a fifth, a third, and a fourth.
Yeah, and, Felix race, one of them I know for sure, he really had it covered. Just strategy caught him off guard. I mean, he was dominating the race, and then, a yellow came out at the wrong time for him, kind of put him behind his teammates, to be honest with you, and he didn't get that win. So he's very tough here for sure.
Will Power, a winner in 2018, 4 poles and 5 top 10s in his 9 starts. So again, that team's always flexed its muscle here at Worldwide Technology.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at the record book, just see how fast they are and how consistent they are, and what good, they have the cars, they have the drivers, they've been getting it done here for sure.
10 sets of tires coming into this race weekend. It looks like they're going to now get that extra set. The schedule has changed yet again. There will be some highlight practice later this evening. We'll talk more about that. But we'll want to hear from a driver with a milestone start this weekend. We used to call him a kid, Jake Query. I mean, he's still younger than me, but far from a kid anymore.
That is correct. Graham Rahal, you've gotten actually some accolades for this landmark start, correct?
I do.
Yeah.
300?
300 is pretty impressive, right?
It's a long time, yeah, man. It's been a long road, I guess, but I remind everybody I started young, right? So I'm not as old as I think most think, but yeah, man, it's a great weekend. Obviously, it's great to be here in St. Louis, and hopefully we can put something together here in qualifying. We struggled a little bit in there in first practice. We actually tested Milwaukee earlier this week, so we were pretty confident, I think, coming in, but yeah, man, we'll see what happens here.
When you look back at 300, Graham, honestly, aside from the wins, I mean, that goes without saying. But when you look back over it, does it seem like it's been a long road for you, or does it seem like it's gone by in a blur?
Oh, I think it goes really quick, man. I was telling Louis, my teammate, was asking me this morning about that, and you know, the greatest thing is all the people that you meet, man. There's a lot of great relationships and friendships and, you know, people that you connect to, you talk to for years and years to come and will until, you know, the end of time, so to speak. But no, I mean, it goes by fast. I mean, these years seem to, they just click along, and particularly when you get seasons like this where you're racing every weekend, it's so sudden and so fast, and then you move on. So, you know, we'll see how many more are in me, but
How many more are in?
I don't know. We'll see.
Graham Rahal, best of luck here.
Thanks.
Worldwide Technology Raceway for Graham Rahal. Start number 300 mark for Rahal in car number 15.
Pretty impressive, and has carried that famous surname well, and does so proudly, most assuredly. Green flag is going to fly momentarily for Jacob Abel out on the course to handle the chores of calling these runs today and throughout race day tomorrow's Nick Yeoman high atop turn number 4.
Yeah, looking forward to this one, Mark Janes. This 1.25 mile oval just outside of St. Louis, Missouri, as Jacob Abel gets up to speed. He'll navigate turns 3 and 4. Banked at 9 degrees. It's the much wider radius, much different than the sharper turns 1 and 2, Mark, as the driver from Louisville, Kentucky takes the green flag.
And he'll arc it into turn number 1. He'll do so a high entry at the end of that straightaway. Gets the left sides below that line. The familiar wash off of turn number 2. Already to the halfway point of the back straight is Jacob Abel.
This is one of our IndyCar rookies, recorded his first top 20 finish at Detroit 2 weeks ago. Through turns 3 and 4, he runs a pretty line tight, keeping it low out of turn number 4. Here comes that red, black, and white car of Jacob Abel.
It's a good-looking race car piloted by Jacob Abel. First lap in the books, 170.729 miles per hour, already exiting turn number 2.
Out of turn number 2, he'll navigate that 1,900-foot back straightaway, swings it to the left, and then he'll drive it back up to the right to get the good angle to carry as much speed as possible into turn number 3 for Jacob Abel, who finished second in an IndyNext race here, Mark, a year ago.
Looks like he will pick up a couple of mile an hour off his practice speed, the best practice speed he posted, off of 177.29. Quicker, Davey, 172.125 for Jacob Abel. The 2-lap average, 171.424.
Definitely picked up time from his practice speed. And I'll have to say, being the first guy out, as we can see right now, somebody in Silver Crown just practiced. Yeah. Some oil went down. There's a lot of oil dry on the racetrack, a lot of dirt and dust blowing up. And going down through 1 and 2, when it's right on the bottom of the racetrack, it's a little nervous when you go down there and you see that oil dry. Even though they've cleaned it really well, they swept it off, but the grip's usually not there. And when you're the first guy out, it's a bit hard to go through there wide open, but he did a good job by improving his time from this morning.
You had a chance to get a good look at the line that he was running.
Yeah.
Were you happy with it?
Yeah, good line. Just like I say, man, there's oil all the way through turns 1 and 2, unfortunately, that they've cleaned up. Like I say, and then when you get low on the back straightaway, whoever had an engine problem or whatever happened, took it all the way around the racetrack. You can see it in turn 3 and 4. You can see it in turn 1 and 2. Just not a confidence builder when you're in that race car and you see oil dry on the racetrack. Like I say, they've swept it, they've cleaned it off, they've blown it off. There's not a lot of dust coming from it, but it doesn't improve your grip when you're going through on that rubber.
Doesn't take very long to get a qualifying run in the books here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Next up is Callum Ilott as he dials it around turn number 3. Looks like he's prepping to take the green flag and get his qualifying run underway for Prema Racing. Their first year in the NTT IndyCar Series as Callum Ilott points it toward turn number 1, Nick Yeoman.
And a reminder, these cars go onto the racetrack in qualifying based on where they are at in points. So obviously these early drivers have not had great seasons. Callum Ilott trying to turn it around. Marcus, he heads into turn number 3 here on lap number 1.
Callum Ilott sets up for turn number 3, gets it to the bottom of the racetrack. It'll wash as it does oftentimes to the high side. The exit at turn number 4 just inches off of that outside retaining wall. Lap number 1 is in the books for Callum Ilott, or let's see, 174.160 miles per hour.
Yeah, not a bad run, actually. I mean, that's quicker than Abel was able to do, but still needs to gain some time.
Nick?
Here comes Callum Ilott, the driver from England, very high through turns 3 and 4. He'll try to carry some speed, Mark, as he roars across the start-finish line.
Let's see. We've got a couple of different monitors here, and the scoring is a bit confusing, so let's correct that for you. Lap number 1 was at 177.269. Lap number 2 at 176.250. The average speed for Callum Ilott, Davey, 176.758.
Yeah, there we go. Forget that it's average speed. Both these laps count, so you don't want to mess either one of those laps up. They both mean something. It's not just the fastest of the 2 laps. Both of them count.
Yeah, so a pretty solid run, pretty consistent run for Callum Ilott, and we'll see where that lands him once we get through the field of 27. And that's the thing, Davey. I mean, when you're not drawing, it does put a lot of pressure when you go later. I mean, that track's going to rubber up. It's going to help him out a little bit. But, boy, it's a bit of a roll of the dice when you get later in the qualifying session.
One confidence thing that you have later in the run, the track's getting better. You know that oil dry is going to have some rubber on top of it. You kind of see what the drivers in front of you have done. Always a big disadvantage going early on in any kind of qualifying session because you have nothing to reference the track off of, the grip off of, and the time that the guys are running.
And that sun's been beating on that racetrack for quite a while this afternoon.
Yes, that's another thing. You can see the shadow about halfway down that back straightaway, which makes a huge difference going down in turn 3 and 4. All shadows down there right now. And then as he comes down this front straightaway, the sun pops out as he enters into turn 1 with the green flag.
And Aaron Likens is in the flag stand, and he displays the green flag, and that means the run is underway as he points it toward turn number 2.
Here comes Robert Shwartzman up off of turn number 2. Very high, kept it up against the outside retaining wall. Now we'll move to the middle of the racetrack. It's an identical red, white, and green car of his teammate Callum Ilott, who is just on track. Here comes Shwartzman out of turn 4.
Robert Shwartzman, Indy 500 pole sitter, gets to the start-finish line, and lap number 1 will be in the books. 174.096. Again, 174.096. Already setting up for turn 2.
And a reminder, this is the first short oval start and for the driver and the team. So everybody doing some learning this weekend. Here comes the 25-year-old Israeli Robert Shwartzman out of turn 4.
174.096 as he sees the checkered flag. Lap number 2 is in the books. 174.433. The 2-lap average, 174.265 to Michael Young.
Yeah, Callum Ilott, one of the first to go out. I thought a couple of good laps there. Walk us through that run.
Yeah, the first lap was good. I got a good feeling for it. Tried to push a bit more on the second lap and just went a little bit wide in turn 1, 2. But yeah, pretty solid first run and fastest times for me for the day.
Sun's now gone behind the clouds. Would that have helped?
Maybe. I'll speak to the engineering wizards about that. But no, it was a good run. We had great power from Chevy. I was topping out at the end there. So yeah, should be good.
Well done.
Thank you.
Callum Ilott, 2-lap average, 176.758.
Devlin DeFrancesco will be next, and Louis Foster, Ray Robb, and Nolan Siegel. If you're wondering what that order will be toward the end, it'll be Felix Rosenqvist, Will Power, Christian Lundgaard, Kyle Kirkwood, Pato O'Ward, and Alex Palou.
It's our top guys in the points, and as they say, they have the advantage. The later you go, the better off it is. And as they say, the cloud cover's coming in, covering some of the track. I do feel, even though and one thing that I got to watch is the wind. If you look at the flags right now by us, Mark, they're now kind of blowing from the front straightaway to the back straightaway, where earlier they were the wind was blowing down the front straightaway, kind of pushing you into turn 1. So that's going to change the balance of these race cars.
I was out in the grandstand enjoying your Indy Next show earlier today, and I noticed that wind has picked up.
It's picked up. Yeah, it's definitely it's not just a breeze. It's a definitely hard wind.
So Devlin DeFrancesco crosses the start-finish line, and he sees the green flag fly as he aims it into turn number 1.
25-year-old from Canadian did not race here at Worldwide Technology a year ago, but we'll see what he can do in his return. Halfway down the back straightaway, this is a Honda for the Rahal Letterman Lanigan camp. DeFrancesco, nice darting angle into turn number 3.
Does have a couple of starts here. To his credit, he started 9th and finished 12th in 2022, did Devlin DeFrancesco. Lap number 1 is in the books. 176.538 miles per hour already exiting turn number 2.
Yeah, that's turn 1 and 2 where you're definitely downshifting and losing some speed. He'll pick it back up down the back straightaway into turn number 3. It's a much wider angle through turns 3 and 4, Mark. You can carry a lot of speed. That's what Devlin DeFrancesco does now out of turn 4.
Lap number 1, 176.538 miles per hour. Lap number 2, 176.038. The 2-lap average, 176.288 for Devlin DeFrancesco, second fastest of the 4 qualifiers so far to Jake Query.
Robert Shwartzman, obviously a little bit different oval than the one in which you sat on pole at Indianapolis, but how did your car feel on this run?
Honestly, not as well as I wanted to. Again, we came to free practice. The car in free practice was feeling quite nervous and a bit tricky to drive, so we didn't really have much time to balance it well. So coming in quali was a bit of a guess. It got a bit better from practice, but still I'm quite limited with few things, like feeling a bit not comfortable. And yeah, unfortunately, like we don't have much time to drive here. Not enough practice, like only 60 minutes and then straight to quali. So yeah.
Does anything that you learned in terms of racing at Indianapolis translate to this Oval?
Yeah, a few things, but actually it's quite different. Obviously the car is different. The amount of steering, the amount of like general feeling and how you prepare a bit the car is a bit different. So I would say Indy 500 is quite exceptional. It's like a different thing. So I would say it's more like a no than a yes.
Appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you.
Robert Shwartzman, Mark.
Sounds like one of those drivers going to be happy to get to that practice session this evening.
Yeah, you know, and he is right. I mean, for all these IndyCar and IndyNext drivers, no testing here makes it very difficult to figure out exactly what you want to do, get the confidence built up that you need. And when your car's not right in that 1 hour, it makes it difficult.
Louis Foster has taken the green flag, setting up for turn 3.
The third of 3 rookies that have gone on the racetrack here in qualifying. Louis Foster won an IndyNext race here a year ago. One of the younger drivers in the field, Mark, just 21 years old. He'll see the white flag.
Started 13th, but finished 22nd in Detroit. Had that nasty crash with Felix Rosenqvist when his suspension failed. Again, luckily, both were able to walk away. Lap number 1, 174.448 as he's setting up for turn 3.
Louis Foster from Odium, England, carrying some speed into turn number 3. That green and black car stays off the red and white curbing by about a couple feet, carries some speed out of turn number 4. He'll point it down the front straightaway.
Lap number 1, 174.448. Lap number 2, 175.367. The 2-lap average, 174.907. Third fastest of the 5 qualifiers.
Yeah, not where he wants to be for sure, but still, you know, right in the middle of the 5 qualifiers that have gone. So he'll take that to the bank. I still say, you know, just for your confidence, seeing that oil dry down in turn 1 and 2, Mark, you know, it's a mental thing that you know there's not as much grip down there, and that's a difficult corner. You're shifted down 2 gears, and when you're in that, it's not black anymore. It's white down there going over that oil dry, and it's not easy.
And they tried to get as much as they possibly can.
They did a really good job.
But the dust, the cars sucked that up off the racetrack.
That's right. I mean, you can only do it. They took the jet dryers, they blew it off. They did the very best they could, but these cars going as fast as we're going, it just sucks at that dust all over. And as they say, it's going to get better and better as they go, but it's a bit nerve-wracking, I promise you, for these drivers to poke it down in there.
All right, so qualifying continues here for tomorrow's race. We've had Callum Ilott, Devlin DeFrancesco, Louis Foster, Robert Shwartzman, and Jacob Abel put in qualifying attempts. Next up will be Stingray Robb from Juncos Hollinger Racing. He'll be followed by Nolan Siegel, Connor Daly, Marcus Ericsson, Kyffin Simpson, and Christian Rasmussen as we set the field for 27 cars for the Bonarino Automotive Group 500. Stingray Robb exiting turn number 2.
Yeah, good line in turns 1 and 2 for Stingray, who had a 9th place finish here a year ago. That was a career best. Subsequently matched that at Long Beach earlier this year. We'll see what the driver from Idaho can do, Mark, as Stingray Robb sets up for turn 4.
He's had a top 10 this season, been racy at times. He's led a total of 12 laps on the season. Lap number 1 for Stingray Robb, 175.071 miles per hour as he exits turn 2.
He used a lot of the red and white curbing there in turns 1 and 2, trying to carve a tight line through that end of the racetrack. We'll see what he can do for Stingray Robb here in turns 3 and 4. Driver from Idaho, a little bit higher this time, Mark, out of 4.
Good looking race car with a somewhat simplistic paint scheme, but it's still very clean nonetheless as he sees the checkered flag. Slower, 175.071, and really fell off, Davey, to a 173.881. The 2-lap average, 174.474.
Yeah, you know, watching him down in turn 3 and 4 that last lap, it looked like that car wiggled around just so slightly through there. And it didn't look like much, but when you're in that cockpit going that fast to that corner and it wiggles around, you can't help but to pull your foot out of the throttle a little bit, and that must be what happened to Stingray losing some speed on that second lap.
As he enters the pit warm-up lane and heads to pit lane, Nolan Siegel will go out for his warm-ups. Then it'll be Connor Daly, Marcus Ericsson, Kyffin Simpson, Christian Rasmussen, Rinus VeeKay, Graham Rahal, and Santino Ferrucci. Let's hear from Louis Foster.
Yeah, Louis just got out of the car and got his helmet off. A little bit, just curious, winning here last year and then driving an IndyCar here this year, the difference for you?
Say that again, I didn't know what you
said. So the difference between the IndyNext car, obviously you won here last year, and the difference between that and an IndyCar?
Yeah, I think the main thing is the straight line speed of these things. I mean, we're approaching all the corners quite a lot faster, but it's a completely different beast to drive. Still getting to grips with it, the extra weight that it has. Very, very different car for sure.
Tell me a little bit about the wind and all of that down in turn 2, that oil dry. Does that affect the lap here at all?
We went faster than practice. I mean, we rolled off not in a good spot at all, really. But we've improved. I think the car was quite good in qualifying. I don't know how good that time's going to be. I don't think it's going to be particularly amazing. Just didn't really have the confidence to know what I was going to have. That's the nice thing when you roll off fast, is you know what you're going to get for qualifying. You have to change a lot, whereas we changed a decent amount, and I didn't know where the car was going to be. So a bit disappointed with that. I think we could have gone better and faster, but I think the races here are pretty long, and I think the most important thing is we're fast tomorrow.
Best of luck tomorrow night.
Cheers, thank you.
That's Louis Foster.
Lap number 1 in the books for Nolan Siegel, 174.808. Dangerously close to that outside retaining wall on his second lap, and he completes it and goes faster, noticeably faster, Davey. 176.761, so the 2-lap average for Nolan Siegel, 175.779.
Yeah, if he could have pulled that second lap off the first one, we really would have been probably the quickest out there, but right now it sits in third spot.
Let's hear from Stingray Robb.
Stingray Robb is out of that Good Heart Health Center and heroes in training in terms of the Freedom Service Dogs of America Chevrolet, and it looked like a drop from lap 1 to lap 2. What did you feel?
We had a big twitch there in the middle of 3 and 4 that just cost us a lot of time. So I'm pretty frustrated. I think without that we would have been okay, but you can't have that here. That's just something that you can't deal with. So unfortunate, but we'll figure it out. And
From a driver's standpoint, what do you feel? What lets you know that's happening?
I mean, you start turning more than you're trying to. I mean, that's really it. The nose of the car gets pointed further around the corner than what you need it to be, and what that means is the rear end of the car is coming around. So you end up just having to chase it up the racetrack a little bit, get off line, get a little too high, and this line seems narrower than it was last year. So I don't think that we've rubbered it in quite as well as we saw last year.
That'll be key, I guess, Mark, later, of course, with the high line practice. Try to get that extra groove going. That's Stingray Robb.
Taken out once upon a time and then added it back in late today. So from 7:15 to 7:25 and then 7:25 to 7:35, Davey, a couple of high line sessions.
Yeah, that's definitely, it'll definitely help give these drivers, a little bit more opportunity to get up in that high groove. Now, it's not going to be as grippy as the bottom, but at least there's some rubber up there. They could go up there. They can start passing. In the race, what happens too, Mark, if things start going too wide through there, it's raceable. You can go too wide. It rubbers it. It keeps it clean up there and allows way better racing, and that's what we've seen last year.
We commended Graham Rahal for his 300th start coming up this weekend. Another driver that's got more than a few under his belt, getting ready to put his car through the warm-up paces. Hard to believe, Davey, career start number 122 this weekend for Connor Daly.
Yeah, how about that? Isn't that amazing? I mean, we talked earlier, I think he's driven for almost every team here but a few, and had up and down, not having a ride, not having a ride, but seems like he's found a really good home here with that Uncos Ollinger race team, and has shown some results and with other teams as well. So I think he seems, honestly, the most comfortable he's been in any kind of car or situation right now.
Well, he got this team, quite frankly, as a late entry to that car. He got them that leader circle money last year, and I think it was great that they put him in this race car.
Yeah, no question. And they have history that goes way back from Connor running in Europe. So it was an easy fit. I think that he meshes with Ricardo, the team owner, and obviously the engineers and Connor seem to be getting along good. They seem to have a pretty darn good race car, and I mean, the best thing, good energy.
Fan favorite here for sure. 9 starts, 4 top 10s. He finished 5th back in 2017. Lap number 1 for Connor Daly, 176.555 as he exits turn number 2.
Yeah, looked pretty good in practice. It's a very high line out of turn number 2. We'll see how much speed he scrubbed off. Connor Daly setting up for turn number 3, the driver from Noblesville, Indiana. For Uncos Ollinger, here comes that Chevrolet, Mark Janes, off of turn 4.
Warm-up lap in the 174-mile-an-hour range. Lap number 1 was at 176.555. Much quicker lap number 2, 177.059. That puts him at the top of the 8 qualifiers so far, Davey, with a 2-lap average of 176.807.
Yeah, and how about this? Second quickest Ilott now, 176.758. That they're just so close in times, but that does put Connor to the top out of the 8 cars that have qualified.
And really, that's the way it's going to look throughout this qualifying run. It's going to be tenths, 100ths, and even thousandths of a second.
Yeah, and as everybody knows, as you already mentioned earlier on, the later you go means the higher in the point status you are. So, usually the faster you go, the faster they are as the group goes. Here goes Ericsson right now.
Yeah, so Marcus Ericsson, Kyffin Simpson, Christian Rasmussen, Rinus VeeKay, Rahal, and Santino Ferrucci, Rossi, Newgarden, Malukas, Armstrong, Herta, McLaughlin, Dixon still to come, along with Rosenqvist, Power, Lundgaard. The final 3 qualifiers will be Kyle Kirkwood, Pato O'Ward, and Alex Palou. So Marcus Ericsson looking to get back to his winning ways. 7 starts and 4 top 10s here. He was 5th back in 2020 as he crosses the start-finish line and aims it toward turn number 1.
Also had a front row start here in 2022. Not used to seeing Marcus Ericsson out this early in qualifying. He is 19th in points, so he needs a good run. Line looks pretty good down the back straightaway, Mark, here on lap 1 as he sets up for turn 3.
To your point, Nick, it's hard to believe just 1 top 10 finish for Marcus Ericsson so far in the 2025 campaign. That is very un-Marcus Ericsson-like. Lap number 1 of the books, 177.246 as he already sets up for turn number 2.
Yeah, that's in the ballpark. That'll get it done. We'll see what Marcus Ericsson can do now. Down the back straightaway, driving for Andretti Global. They always have fast cars. His teammate Kyle Kirkwood's gone to victory lane twice. Here comes Marcus Ericsson looking for a good qualifying run out of turn 4.
Stays right in that tried and true racing groove through 3 and 4 and crosses the start-finish line. What a consistent run off a 177.246, a 177.565. The fastest so far, the 2-lap average for Marcus Ericsson, 177.405, Michael Young.
Yeah, down with Connor Daly. We were talking about Graham Rahal's 300th start. This will be your 122nd? 122nd. No, well, it's a milestone. I don't know. Talk us about the run. It looked like it's getting a little rougher out there, maybe?
No, honestly, I think I just overreacted to what my teammates said, honestly, about it. I mean, we didn't get enough out of it at all. And, I mean, it sucks that we go out there and there's oil dry all over the entry to turn 3-4. Like, it's such a shame because I turn in much later and where the oil dry is. So I had to adjust my line.
Did it throw you off? You obviously didn't know it was there.
Yeah, I mean, I just killed us on the first lap because I'm having to adjust my line entirely. So that's a shame. But, I mean, we know our car's fast and we race really well here. So, even if we have to come from middle to the back of the pack, like, I know we'll be up front pretty quickly.
Tell us about Highline practice tonight. It was scrubbed and now back on the schedule. How important is that to you as a driver?
Honestly, I think it's just nice to get a little bit more laps, right? And to get comfortable on the Highline is really good. So, we'll take our Mankind Chevrolet and get out there and see what happens.
See you tomorrow night and tonight.
Thank you.
Connor Daly, 175.779.
Yeah, a bit of frustration there out of Connor Daly, Davey.
Yeah, 2 things, right? He said he overreacted on, his teammate is Ray Robb. So he said, well, I got really loose down there, but probably over-adjusted, it sounds like. And I continue to say it's so hard for these drivers when you see oil dry on that racetrack, as Connor just confirmed. It's just a mind game. There's not as much grip in it, so you don't want to be in it, and you have to be down in 1 and 2, but 3 and 4, as Connor said, he's used to making a higher entry down there, but that oil dries right in the way, so he had to turn in a little bit earlier, and it messes his lineup.
One of the drivers that was a really good story coming off the streets of Detroit. Solid finish, career best finish for him. Kyffin Simpson, lap number 1 is in the books, Nick Yeoman, 172.499.
It was a top 5, a 5th place finish, but that is a rough first lap for Kyffin Simpson. We'll see if he can gather it back up midway point of the back straightaway. Multicolored machine, first to the Ganassi stable, Mark. Here comes Kyffin Simpson out of turn 4.
As we mentioned, some work to do. That was a slow first lap at 172.499. Lap number 2, a tick faster, but not much, Davey. 173.574. And the 2-lap average, 173.035. 9th fastest of the 10 so far.
Yeah, not good. I mean, I still think when we talk to him, I feel like he probably has, some balance, not confident in the car, but that oil dry, just all the things adding up, just not to give him the confidence to really lay it down.
So you've got Christian Rasmussen up next, then Rinus VeeKay, then Rahal, then Santino Ferrucci, then Rossi, Newgarden, Malukas, Armstrong, Herta, McLaughlin, and Dixon, and then Rosenqvist, Power, Christian Lundgaard, Kyle Kirkwood, Pato O'Ward, and Alex Palou. And again, don't forget, 7:15 to 7:25, Highline Group A. Then Group B from 7:25 to 7:35, and then later tonight, 7:50 to 8:35, one final 45-minute session.
Yep, and I think that's going to be key. It looks like the rain's gone for the weekend. Let's, knock on wood and hope that's the case, and this rubber is stay on the track, the rest all for tomorrow.
First, let's see. We'll watch the warm-up laps of Christian Rasmussen, but first we want to hear from Marcus Ericsson.
Marcus Ericsson, the color scheme on your fire suit and car of that Fresh Market Central, or let's see, Fresh Connect Central, yeah, it's very fresh looking, but the car was very consistent looking. How did it feel?
Yeah, it felt good. It's always something you can do a bit better. There's always things you can improve after a run, but I think it was still 2 solid laps. The car felt good to drive. We'll see how it goes on. There's more in it. There's always more in it. Only the guy on pole is going to say that they're super happy. I think you always can find a bit more, but I think it should put us in a decent spot for the race tomorrow. And what I really like is our race car. I think we have a really good race car here. I like the race at this place. It's usually really fun. So yeah, I'm okay, happy with that.
You guys will love that Fresh Connect Central look when you're calling it Mark and Nick, because it's that tennis ball green. Going to be very, very easy to see for Marcus Ericsson.
Lap number 1 of the books for Christian Rasmussen, 174.033, setting up for turn 3.
Yeah, needs to pick it up down the back straightaway. Took a really sharp angle into turn number 1 on lap number 1. Looked like he scrubbed off a lot of speed. We'll see if lap 2 is a little bit more consistent for the driver from Denmark.
Did not run the ovals in 2024, so this is the first time he's been here in an NTT IndyCar Series car. Lap number 1 is 174.033. Lap number 2, 174.306. The 2-lap average, 174.170. 9th fastest of the 11 qualifiers, Michael Young.
Yeah, with Kyffin Simpson, 2-lap average of a 173.035. Certainly, I know you want to go faster, but overall, your thoughts on the car and where you were compared to practice today?
Yeah, I think we improved the car quite a bit, but we changed a lot, so it was a lot to get used to in just a couple laps. Car kind of was the exact opposite of what it was earlier, so now we've got some different problems to face, but I think we'll try to find a good middle ground for the race tomorrow, and hopefully we can be competitive and race our way forward.
Wish you all the best tomorrow night.
Thank you.
That's Kyffin Simpson.
Yeah, sounds like a bit of head scratching going on there in terms of finding the right setup.
Yeah, that's like I say, we talk about the 2 different corners here. They're so opposite of each other, and you may be really good in one and not so good in the other, so you make adjustments, and it could just make it opposite, make the other corner good and the other one not so good. And so it's kind of a compromised racetrack. I don't know exactly what they had or what was going on there, but I think he's just trying to build his confidence, find the setup that he likes in that car. Obviously, Pato and Dixon, he's good teammates to go off.
10th here a year ago, Rinus VeeKay setting up for turn number 3.
Yeah, trying to get his season back on track, Mark. Last couple races, 27th place finishes at Indy and Detroit. We are not used to seeing that from Rinus, so we'll see if he can rocket his way out of turn number 4. Lap number 1 is in the books.
Lap number 1 at 176.149 for Rinus VeeKay. And to your point, that last place finish in Detroit, Nick. Prior to that, a top 5 and 3 top 10s.
Was looking like a guy that could contend for the top 10 of the championship. So again, got to get back on the horse and find some speed, and Rinus has been good at that throughout the course of his very young career. Here comes the 24-year-old Dutchman out of turn 4.
Pedals that blue and white machine across the start-finish line, and pretty consistent run, 176.149, a 176.298. The 2-lap average, 176.224 for Rinus VeeKay. 5th fastest, Davey, of the 12 qualifiers so far.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, look at that oil drive, man. It's still blowing up pretty good through there. But, and by the way, from 2nd to him in 5th are all almost identical times. So just a little bit better could have put him in that 2nd spot.
Jake Query.
Christian Rasmussen is out of his machine. Let's ask about that, the oil dry itself, because it seems like all of a sudden it's kicking up more than it was at the beginning of the session. How much did you have to contend with it?
No, it wasn't really bothering me too much. I was kind of lower than that. But, yeah, I don't know. We're just struggling this weekend for some reason. We weren't very good in practice 1, and we kind of threw the kitchen sink at it here for qualifying, and then obviously the car's way different. I think it was better. But it's hard to kind of go out not really knowing what to expect out of the car and really just go send it like you have to do in a qualifying run like that. So I think there was more in it than what we showed, but it's just hard not really knowing what to expect.
Obviously, Mark, that extra practice session later tonight going to be helpful for that team.
10th fastest of the 12 qualifiers, Davey. He's going to have some work to do on race day.
Yeah, he sure does. Yeah, just not where they want to be in that ECR car. I think Rossi seemed pretty good in practice. He did fall down the charts a little bit, but we'll see what he could turn here in just a little bit as Graham Rahal, our 300th. I can't believe that 300th start for Graham Rahal. He takes the track right now.
Santino Ferrucci will be up next, then Rossi, Newgarden, Malukas, Armstrong, Herta, McLaughlin, and Dixon, then Rosenqvist, Power, Lundgaard, Kirkwood, and Pato O'Ward, and Alex Palou as Graham Rahal sets up for turn number 2.
Historically, this has not been a great racetrack for Graham Rahal. Just a pair of top 10 finishes, but he usually races better than he qualifies. Was very high on lap number 1 mark out of turn number 2. We'll see if he can woe it down and hold a prettier line. It looks much better in turns 3 and 4. Here comes Graham Rahal down the front stretch.
9 of those 300 starts here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Lap number 1, 174.846 for Graham Rahal, setting up for turn number 2.
Yeah, so he's another one of those drivers that Davey mentioned, just kind of slammed together right there in the middle in that 174 range. If Graham can pick up, he can find a little separation. He's already into turn number 3.
And we see the left sides just barely touch that white line to the bottom of the racetrack, and a wide swing a couple of inches off of that outside retaining wall at the exit of turn number 4. Lap number 2, it was a consistent run, 174.846, 174.528. The 2-lap average for Graham Rahal, 174.687 miles per hour, 8th fastest of the 13 qualifiers so far. Let's hear from Rinus VeeKay.
Rinus VeeKay is out of his car. Seems as though you're starting to find some pace in that Dale Coyne Honda. How did it feel for you?
Yeah, it felt really good, actually. I have to say I wasn't too happy after practice. I made some changes, and yeah, really happy with the run. Pushed really hard. Balance was good. I think we were quite a bit faster than we expected, so we were just bottoming a little bit, which wasn't ideal, but it wasn't upsetting me. So yeah, I think we did really good, and yeah, good effort. I'm happy. I think we can have a good race from here on.
Best of luck for a good weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
Rinus VeeKay, Mark.
Warm-up laps for Santino Ferrucci. Rossi is next, then Newgarden, Malukas, Armstrong, Colton Herta, Scott McLaughlin, and Scott Dixon. Then we'll see Rosenqvist, Will Power, Christian Lundgaard, Kyle Kirkwood, Pato O'Ward, and Alex Palou as qualifying continues. Green flag in the air. 5 starts here for Santino Ferrucci. He was 4th in 2019, Nick Yeoman.
He has completed all but 3 laps in those 5 starts, so the always consistent Santino Ferrucci looking for his second career IndyCar pole. He's already into turn number 3.
It's been a pretty good season. That second place finish in Detroit had been controversial because of the post-race penalties. 2 top 5s and top 10. He's led 8 laps on the season. Lap number 1, 174.717 for Santino Ferrucci, Nick Yeoman.
Again, going to need to pedal up off of turn number 2. It's the familiar red and black colors this weekend. He's got the title sponsor of the Bommarito Automotive Group on the side pod. So big weekend for Santino and big weekend for those folks at Bommarito Automotive. Here comes Ferrucci out of turn 4, Mark. He'll see the checkered flag.
Been a bit of a struggle so far this weekend for Santino Ferrucci, although a massive jump on lap number 2 off a 174.717. 177.226. He'd like to have that first lap back. The 2-lap average for Ferrucci, 175.963. 6th fastest of the 14 qualifiers, Michael Young.
Yeah, with Graham Rahal, we talked to him at the top of the show after qualifying. Walk us through the run, what to change in this final practice session, and where you are with this car right now.
Yeah, I mean, the car's not bad. There's like nothing evil. It just doesn't seem to be quite tied together and just not super fast. So we got the gearing a lot closer there. I think 5th gear was still probably a little long, which unfortunately we really need to be flat in 3 and 4. There's just little burbles because of the amount of understeer I had. But, you know, the balance was much more calm, obviously, than what you have in practice earlier. So I just didn't maximize it. I don't, other than that, I'm not really sure what to say. We've got to continue to work hard. Obviously, Dev's quite a bit quicker than Louis and I, so we need to go back and look and understand that. And then, we'll see. Hopefully we get this high line working. I think that's critical to the race tomorrow.
Car's less conservative, obviously, in qualifying. Do you feel better with race trim and where that car feels, or is there still adjustments there as well?
Yeah, we're going to try some stuff tonight, but I mean, like I said, it's not doing anything evil. It's just not quite tied together, and so when it seems like when we don't have it quite perfect, we don't get the raw speed out of the car. So unfortunately, you've got to nail it, and we're just not quite there.
See you tonight.
Thanks.
Graham Rahal, 2-lap average, 174.687.
And the challenge from an engineering standpoint, Davey, when you're searching for a little bit here, a little bit there, you want to make sure that you make the right changes and don't go too far the wrong way.
Yeah, and it's one thing, like he says, it's nothing big. He said the car actually, you know, it feels okay. It's just it's not tied 100% together. That means there's just a little bit, maybe a little free here, a little tiny push there. Not anything huge, but enough to where it doesn't show it the good lap time that he wants. So they'll work on that. And obviously DeFrancesco, as he said, you know, he's still P4 right now out of that Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan team. So he still has a decent speed where Foster and Rahal are in 8th and 9th.
Yeah, things, I think business about to pick up a little bit, Davey, in terms of speed with Rossi, Newgarden, Malukas, Armstrong, and others.
Yeah, well, Newgarden's going to be the one to really keep eye out. He was the fastest one in practice. We know he's 12th in points, but right now I think he's going to be the guy to watch for being on the pole.
And we've cleared past the halfway point of the qualifying line now. Started second and finished second in 2018 did Alexander Rossi. He's made 9 starts here. It's been a pretty good debut season with this race team all in all. 4 top 10s for him, 15 laps led. He's coming off a 10th place finish at Detroit as Alexander Rossi comes off of turn number 4 and Aaron Likens aims him toward turn 1.
He has had some good runs here at Worldwide Technology Raceway with different teams. A second with Andretti, a fourth with Arrow McLaren. Now with, as you mentioned, Ed Carpenter Racing halfway down the back straightaway for Alexander Rossi. He's already into 3.
Java House and Splenda sponsorship on that car as he roars it through turn number 3, sets up for 4. He gets really high at the exit of turn number 4, then glides it back to the middle of the racetrack. Lap number 1, 177.703 miles per hour. Lap number 1 in the books for Alexander Rossi, Jake Query.
And Santino Ferrucci is out of his car with the Bommarito Autosport sponsorship, the title sponsor of this event, on the side of it. Big jump from lap 1 to 2. Was that about what you didn't do in lap 1 or about what you did change for lap 2?
I mean, obviously we really struggled in warm-up or in first practice and trying to just fully trust and engage with the car. I lifted a bit more than I anticipated in 1, and it turned really well. And I got on the apex curve and got sideways, and I just honestly kept my foot in it because why not either spin or it's going to go out.
Because you're Santino Ferrucci, right?
Yeah, so nothing like a little bit of loft on my end, so I feel bad for the team. And, you know, we'll be able to make our way through the field tomorrow, so that'll be at least fun.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
It'll be fun to watch. Santino Ferrucci, Mark.
Right now, 7th fastest. The run already complete for Alexander Rossi, 177.703. Picked it up a tick, 178.290 did Alexander Rossi. Fastest of the 15 qualifiers so far, Davey. The 2-lap average, 177.996.
Yeah, by half a mile an hour. That's pretty impressive that he was able to pull that kind of number off. Really good run for that ECR team. Now, his teammate Rasmussen in the 13th out of 15th. He's going to go look at that telemetry. They're going to go look at setup, see what he can do different, because right now it seems that they have Rossi really fast, looking good right now.
In case you're just joining us, 9 starts, 5 wins, and 2 poles for Josef Newgarden, but he's going much earlier in the qualifying order than he is used to. PPG sponsorship on that car, and Josef Newgarden has been fast all throughout the initial practice session as he takes the green flag and aims it towards turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, I'm going to go on a massive limb, Mark, and say that I hope Alexander Rossi enjoys these brief seconds of being P1 because Josef Newgarden flat owns this place. That PPG car roars down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4. Line looks good, carrying a lot of speed. Here comes Newgarden out of turn 4.
Our view of the cockpit shows him not getting much resistance at all through the turns. That car appears to be handling pretty well. 179.268 miles per hour for Josef Newgarden, setting up for the backstretch.
Yeah, these Penske cars just have a phenomenal setup here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, and Josef Newgarden knows how to rip around this place. Already into turns 3 and 4, looking for a pole position. Got to sweat out a lot of cars, but Marky's about to draw the line in the sand.
Familiar exit off of turn number 4, off of 179.268. A tick slower, but still plenty fast. 178.554, the fastest so far. Josef Newgarden's 2-lap average, Davey, 178.910 miles per hour.
Yeah, he actually went a little quicker than that in practice, but no surprise. He had some heat in the tires, I think, and the track, I think, may have been a little better right then, but good run for Josef Newgarden. I mean, P1 right now with that kind of advantage over second. Quick matter of fact, exactly 1 mile an hour over Rossi, and Rossi has a half a mile an hour over Ericsson.
Yeah, now we've talked a little bit about this in the past. I mean, it's a good feeling for you. It was always Phoenix to come to a place where you just knew you were going to be fast.
Yeah, you just knew you were going to be fast. You're comfortable. You have history there. Things were good. And I think this driver that's on track right now has a little bit of that here as well.
Yeah, David Malukas, boy, I tell you, he's had some success here. They've been on the podium 2 times in 2023 and 2022. At issue last year started second and finished 21st, but we expect Malukas to be in contention. We'll watch his warm-up laps and his run while we hear from Alexander Rossi.
Well, real quick, it was short-lived, Alex, but still a good 2-lap there with total of 177.996. Where's the car? What do you feel?
I mean, it's a big gap, so I don't know where that's going to end up. But I think the car is pretty good, and the team's done a good job so far. So I think we have a good piece for tomorrow, which is obviously a very different situation. But I thought we were going to be closer than that to the Penske cars. So I don't know. We'll look at it.
See you tonight.
Thanks.
That's Alexander Rossi.
David Malukas wasting no time working his way around Worldwide Technology Raceway, already off of turn number 4. White flag is in the air. 178.987, setting up for turn number 2.
If he can lay down a nearly identical lap, he might have enough to knock Josef Newgarden off the pole. David Malukas down the back straightaway. Driver from Chicago, Illinois, finished second this year, marking the Indy 500.
Exits turn number 3, sets up for turn number 4. You'll see that car swing wide toward the outside retaining wall. Narrowly misses it. Aaron Likens gives him the checkered flag.
Wow.
179.171 for David Malukas. The 2-lap average, 179.079, Davey Hamilton.
Great run. Obviously puts Newgarden in second place. What a great run for David Malukas. 179.0 against 178.9. I mean, very close, but man, he got it done.
Jake Query.
Josef Newgarden watched that run. Let's begin by talking about just your car. You said they bring you good cars here. Was that as much as you could get out of that one?
Yeah, it was a good run. I think the car feels fast, so hopefully we got a good starting spot for tomorrow night.
You went out and there was a little bit of sun at the start of your run, and then it cooled off. Did that help Malukas right there?
Oh, I don't think so. I think it's pretty stable conditions right now, so it's good for everybody.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Josef Newgarden, Mark.
Josef, he likes being on pole. I mean, he's competitive.
Yeah, he's competitive. Yeah. Well, and he doesn't have to be on the pole to win. We know that. So he likes being there. He wants to be there. It hasn't been the best season for him, obviously. He's 12th in points. That just tells you everything right there. So not where he wants to be, but if he can start, he's going to. I feel very confident he's going to start towards the front of this race.
Your best chances to beat Josef Newgarden here, maybe to make sure he's locked in his hotel room for the day he can't get out. Marcus Armstrong, our next qualifier, Nick Yeoman, setting up for turn number 3.
Yeah, and a year ago, Marcus Armstrong ran the short ovals for the first time and came away with 3 top 10 finishes. So he is a fast learner. This is the first of 2 cars for Meyer Shank Racing. Here comes Marcus Armstrong, car 66 to the start-finish line.
Yeah, got a little spring in his step off that 6th place finish in Detroit, and a good first lap, Nick, at 178.494 for Marcus Armstrong.
Boy, he'll hang it awful wide off of turn number 2. Carried a lot of speed. This is a blue and white car. Front wings got a little yellow accentuations as Marcus Armstrong already pins it into turns 3 and 4.
Spectrum Sponsorship happy with them during the month of May, so they're going to be on that car for the foreseeable future. That's good news for that team as lap number 2 is in the books. Faster still, 179.015, the 2-lap average. 178.754, Davey.
Wow.
He is P3 among the 18 qualifiers.
Yeah, I mean, that top 3, they're right on top of each other on time. And I tell you, pretty impressive. It's still a mile an hour quicker than Rossi in that 4th spot. So Rossi even said, hey, I don't know how many, we're off a ways. There's going to be some guys in between there. He hit that right. There's definitely going to be some guys between him and the front, where he starts.
Front row guys don't need to rest yet, though, Dave. You can't really exhale because you've got Herta, you got McLaughlin, Dixon, Rosenqvist, Power, Lundgaard, Kirkwood, O'Ward, and Palou. That's a pretty stout lineup.
Pretty stout. And every one of them, I can't wait for every one of them, because any one of these drivers right now could go ahead and put it right on the top of the timing post. And right now, here's another one. Colton Herta, when it comes time to lay a lap down, he's all for it. He's brave. He's going to lay it down right now, and he could beat all these guys.
Let's hear from David Malukas.
I think it was 3 years ago when you finished second here. You were singing Dead or Alive, You Spin Me Round at this race course. What is it about this track and you? Because that was a monster lap, my friend.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's something that I just love. You know, if I could figure out what was so good about this circuit, I would love to take it into every other track. But, you know, I'll take it as it is. I mean, I love it here. And, man, that was a very good car. It went a little bit too deep on that first lap and corrected for the second one.
Well done. We'll see if that holds out.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed for David Malukas. 2-lap average, 179.079.
Yeah, fingers crossed and whatever else he can manage across. But even if it's not a pole run, it's still going to be a good starting point for young David Malukas. And Colton Herta, Gamebridge sponsorship. Familiar yellow and black paint scheme already setting up for turn number 2 off the green flag.
And looking for his 16th pole in IndyCar. Very high off of turn number 2. Kept it off the outside retaining wall. Woes it down as he points that yellow and white nose. Black race car out of turn number 4. Colton Herta, look, he's struggling a bit for speed. He'll pick it up out of the back down the front straightaway.
Hard to believe he's closing in on 1,200 laps led for his career. A good first lap for Colton Herta, 178.421 as he sets up for turn 2.
On the 1,900-foot back straightaway for the driver from California, Colton Herta, just 25 years old, into turn number 3. Last time we went qualifying, he was on pole at Detroit. Much different, though, Mark, here in St. Louis.
Settled for a podium, which was actually a really solid finish considering some recent struggles. That's a very consistent run, Davey. A 178.421, a 178.601. The 2-lap average, 178.551 for Colton Herta, 4th fastest.
Yeah, 4th fastest. A little surprise on his last lap. It was a little bit quicker, but he came off turn 4 really low, chugged that bottom line, trying to make the race course shorter. And I don't know, I'm sure if that helped him or hurt him.
Jake Query.
The Spectrum Honda of Marcus Armstrong sits 3rd as it is right now. Looked like a stable run. The speed said it was a stable run. Did it feel like a stable run?
It was a stable run. The car was really good. I've never done a short oval quali and not wanted more, so let's see how we go compared to everyone else. I feel like my teammates will be quite strong.
You know, with that, in terms of wanting more, on this particular racetrack, that more can be found where?
Well, I mean, you just got to push harder, really, like, especially when you don't know how much grip there is. So, like, our car was mega, felt really, really strong, and I just didn't get the most from it. So it's one of those runs where you're like, damn, wish I could do it again.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Marcus Armstrong.
McLaughlin takes the green flag. He'll be followed by Dixon, Rosenqvist, Power, Lundgaard, Kirkwood, O'Ward, and Pelot setting up for turn number 2.
And the last 2 years that we came to Worldwide Technology Raceway, this was the man that sat on the pole. Scott McLaughlin for Team Penske, already setting up for turn number 3. Red and white race car, Dex Imaging the sponsorship.
And again, 4 starts, amazing results. He's finished 2nd, he's finished 3rd, he's finished 5th, and he has finished 4th. Scott McLaughlin likes Worldwide Technology Raceway, and he completes a first lap at 180.391 miles per hour. Scott McLaughlin.
Big time lap for Scotty Mack down the back straightaway. We'll see if he can carry that speed here for lap number 2. Reminder, it is a 2-lap average. McLaughlin already into turn number 4.
Dex Imaging sponsorship on the car as he points it out at turn number 4 and heads toward the start-finish line. Checkered flag flies 180.391. Lap number 2, 179.179. The 2-lap average provisionally is fast enough, 179.783 for Scott McLaughlin.
Great run by him, Mark. I mean, almost another, but 3/4 of a second or mile an hour quicker than Malukas, which we thought that's going to be hard to beat, but boy, he does it. What a lap by McLaughlin.
So you've got Dixon, Rosenqvist, you've got Will Power, Christian Lundgaard, Kyle Kirkwood, Pato O'Ward, and Alex Pelot.
Yeah, just some weak guys, huh? They can't get the job done, but all of them could find themselves in that top spot. Dixon right now seemed to struggle a little bit. I think he was in the top 10 in practice right now, but you know they made some adjustments on that car, and he loves qualifying. We'll see how he lays it down. I'm looking forward to Power as well, another Penske car.
Colton Herta is currently 5th fastest in the qualifying results. Jay Query?
Colton Herta, you had just asked where you were. You right now stand 5th. Were you happy with what you got out of the Gamebridge car?
Yeah, the car felt good. You know, I think we knew it was going to be tough to beat the Penskes, but, you know, I thought we could put up a little bit of a fight there. I think maybe I was a little too timid on the first lap, but other than that, you know, I was really happy with it. And when I say timid, you know, it's maybe 500s or sorry, 5,000s. So, you know, it's really close here. That's how it is. It's good old short old racing.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's Colton Herta.
10 starts, 6 finishes in the top 10 for Scott Dixon. A couple of wins here. in his storied career. Lap number 1 is in the books for Scott Dixon as he sees the white flag fly. 177.429 for Scott Dixon, setting up for turn 2.
32 career IndyCar poles, 58 wins, and 6 championships for Scott Dixon, but going to be looking for a little bit more on this qualifying run. We'll see if he can pick it up on lap number 2. Needs to find a bunch to threaten for pole in that orange and blue PNC Bank Honda. Dixon off of 4.
Only led 9 laps on the season so far, but has a couple of top 5s and 4 top 10 finishes. Lap number 2, quicker off of 177.429. Lap number 2 at 178.603. The 2-lap average, 178.014 for Scott Dixon, 6th fastest provisionally. Now let's hear from Scott McLaughlin.
Well, Scott, birthday week, that'd be a nice birthday present if you can get back-to-back poles here at Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Oh, more importantly, it's Father's Day tomorrow, so yeah, I got to prove that I'm okay.
It's a big week for you.
I got to prove to my daughter I'm pretty cool, but no, we're having a good time here. Dixon and Gene Chevy was really good there. See if it hangs on.
What did you think of the run? Did you know you had the speed? Did you feel like, because those 2 monster laps?
Yeah, no, they were big laps for sure. I saw the first time, I was like, oh, that was a good one. And then it's all about just, locking in and just trying to make sure it didn't drop off too much. And yeah, we just smoked that. So really happy with that.
Well done.
Thanks. Cheers.
See if that holds on. 2-lap average for Scott McLaughlin, 179.783.
And he will have to wait it out through Felix Rosenqvist, Will Power, Christian Lundgaard, Kyle Kirkwood, Pato O'Ward, and Alex Pillow.
Yeah, and Felix, he last year, what a qualifier he was. He qualified in the front a lot. Didn't ever pull off that win that he wanted, but don't count him out for qualifying. I think he was 5th quickest in the warm-up today. Now, everything's changing. You see, like, Armstrong ran really good. Obviously, Dixon in that 6th spot. I think that's a good run for him. We'll see where he can land.
Felix Rosenqvist was 6th here last year, 4 top 10s, and 7 starts in his career here. It's been a good season for him, save for that bobble in Detroit, that horrific-looking accident that he and Louis Foster walked away from. 3 top 5s and 5 top 10s. It's been a good year for him.
Yeah, it has been. He's doing decent. I mean, he wants a win. He wants to get that win. Like I say, last year, all the poles that he set on, things were looking really good for him right away. But that Meyer Shank, they're 7-up. They have an alliance with Ganassi, so they have, technical alliance was really good team, really good cars. So although the Ganassi cars are down just a little bit on speed compared to where they normally are, so we'll see where he can file in.
Felix, career-wise, Davey, is a solid finisher. I mean, 46 top 10s, and he's got 20 top 5s in his career.
Yeah, no, he from the first time he ever came to the States and ran Indy NXT, I think he won the race. First time ever over here, did a great job, and from there on, he's just continued to be, really drive with excellence and be a contender.
As he prepares to take the green flag, we'll watch his run. We want to hear from Scott Dixon.
Scott Dixon, you have multiple wins at this racetrack, but do you have the car that can get you yet another one here at Worldwide Technology Raceway?
Yeah, I think so, for sure. I think practice the car was running pretty strong. We had a pretty big window to work in. Unfortunately, in qualifying, just balance was a little understeery, which made it not perfect. I think had we had put the first lap and the second lap together a little bit better, it might have been a bit average for us there.
I appreciate the time, Scott.
Nice, man.
Scott Dixon.
Felix Rosenqvist took the green flag. Lap number 1 is in the books. It's a good one, 178.114. Felix Rosenqvist setting up for turn number 2.
SiriusXM, the sponsorship on that car. Blue and white for Felix Rosenqvist from Sweden, halfway down the back straightaway, looking for another top 10 starting position. He's been in the top 10 all year long. Mark enters this weekend 6th in IndyCar points.
Roars it off at turn number 4, and this time he's a little farther off that outside retaining wall than other drivers have been, and he picked up the pace. Off of 178.114, lap number 2, 179.281, the 2-lap average, a solid 178.696 for Felix Rosenqvist, provisionally 5th fastest.
You don't think those cars are his teammate are the same? 178.75 for Armstrong, 178.69 for Rosenqvist. They sit 4th and 5th as teammates going into this race.
But that's not always a given because those teammates may have different driving styles.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm surprised at how close they really are. It feels like they must have pretty close to the same setup. And by the way, they have, they, like we just talked about, work with Ganassi, and they're 7th with Dixon right now. So we'll see what Power could do in another Penske car.
Will Power has not been quite as fast as his teammates in that practice session earlier. But again, 70 poles in his career, 4 poles here, 5 top 5s. He won it in 2018 in his 9 starts. He has been nothing short of impressive, which is the case with Will Power at most racetracks, as that Verizon machine goes through its warm-up paces. It's going to be an interesting run.
Yeah, here's a guy that has more poles than anybody else in this series, and he wants to click poles off, and he can do it. He's got the team, he's got the car, he's got the information, but you have to have it just right. And this morning, as you said, he was the slowest of the 3 teammates.
Going after his teammate Scott McLaughlin, who is currently a provisional pole sitter. Green flag flies on the run of Will Power.
A year ago, he led 117 laps here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, and then on a late restart got caught up in an accident and was taken out, got out of his car, and in true Will Power fashion, he flipped somebody off. Here comes the one and only Will Power. Mark had a turn 4.
175 and change on that warm-up lap. We'll see how that translates into lap number 1, which is in the books for Will Power. 180.577 for Will Power on lap number 1.
He is a 4-time pole sitter here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, looking for a 5th. That red and white Verizon Chevrolet is fast down the back straightaway. Will Power, car 12, into turn number 3.
Off of turn number 4 now, Will Power. Lap number 1 is in the books at 180.577. What did he do on lap number 2?
Wow.
180.081. The 2-lap average is fast enough. 180.329 for Will Power.
What a great run. This guy never surprises, right?
Wow.
He's got more poles than anybody else. He has that Penske car. When it comes time to qualifying, he just is magic. He just gets the most out of that car. It's pretty amazing.
And let's hear from Felix Rosenqvist.
Well, that was pretty impressive, but your 2-lap average was pretty impressive as well. Where was the car compared to practice? Was that what you wanted?
Yeah, it was in the window. It was better. Pretty clean run. No big mistakes or anything. I think, like always, it's always more you can get, especially out of the first lap. I think is where I lacked a bit. The second was pretty competitive, but Power's run looked a bit more than we could do today. So we'll see. I think we probably end up like top 8, top 9, something. So a pretty good day for us.
What do you feel as far as a race car? Is it where you want it to be?
The race is completely different. We haven't really focused much on race, but hopefully we'll get some practice in here. The race stays away, and see if we can get some highline practice as well. I truly think the highline works here, so I'm glad they're doing it, and hopefully we can have some 2-lane racing.
See you tonight.
Thank you.
That's Felix Rosenqvist, 2-lap, 178.696.
Yeah, and again, that initially was scrubbed, and then teams and drivers went to IndyCar and said, hey, look, we really need to think about putting that back in.
Yeah, no, and I think it's really good that they do that. It helped last year. I think it's going to, I know it's going to help this year. Just getting that additional rubber up in that second groove. And you know what it does? Even if it's not a passing groove, it gives these drivers some confidence to, if they slide up there, there's a little bit of grip. They don't just slide into the wall. So I think it's a safety thing as well.
1 lap is in the book for Christian Lundgaard. 176.774, Nick Yeoman, as he's setting up for turn number 2.
He opened the season with 3 podiums in 4 races, looking like a guy that can contend for race wins no matter where we go. Christian Lundgaard driving for Arrow McLaren, already into turn number 3 in that papaya and black machine.
Not been one of his favorite tracks in terms of results. A 15th, a 17th, and a 19th as the shadows bounce off of that outside retaining wall as he approaches it upon exit. A consistent run, Davey, just not very fast. A 176.774, 176.961 for Christian Lundgaard, provisionally 11th fastest.
Yeah, provisionally 11th. I'm surprised it was even that good, to be honest with you, but he got that second lap, helped him out a little bit, went a little bit quicker, but at 11th right now, and I have a feeling he could drop down a few more spots.
3 qualifiers left, but they were fast earlier today, talking about Kyle Kirkwood, Pato O'Ward, and Alex Below.
Yeah, there you go. There's our top 3 in the championship right now, coming out, going to try to lay it down. Now, remember Kyle Kirkwood, he's out there right now. He's the only other guy that's won races this year. So, it's pretty impressive that he's been able to pull off a couple wins. In the last race in Detroit, he won that one as well. So, right now it's Pelot or Kirkwood in winner's circle and see what he can do in qualifying.
Yeah, I would say that if the title of the race has Streets of in it, then put money on Kyle Kirkwood because he's going to do pretty well. Yeah. Siemens sponsorship on that car this weekend with that paint scheme that's becoming very, very familiar now. It's a pretty good association with Andretti Global and that a sponsor as he takes the green flag and sets up for turn number 1.
Yeah, and I was in Kyle Kirkwood's pit when they won 2 weeks ago in Detroit, and it was quite the celebration. Big win for that young man as he has been just a fiend on these street circuits. What can he do here on the short oval? Kyle Kirkwood, Mark, already into turn number 3 as he bombs it into the third corner.
Looking to improve his average finishing position here in 3 starts, a 22nd, a 15th, and a 17th for Kyle Kirkwood. Looking to climb back into the battle for a championship. Lap number 1 for Kyle Kirkwood, 177.748, already setting up for turn number 3.
Again, solid, but probably not going to threaten for the pole. But again, every spot matters because every point matters in IndyCar. Kyle Kirkwood already in the apex of 3 and 4.
Exiting turn number 4 and lap number 1 of the books for Kyle Kirkwood at 177.748. Crosses the start finish line, takes the checker, picks it up a bit. 178.713 for Kyle Kirkwood. Provisionally, Davey, 8th fastest.
Yeah, not a bad run, honestly. I mean, we didn't show a lot of speed this morning, but with that Andretti, they have solid race cars. I think 8th place, he should be happy with that.
So, again, the qualifiers continue to dwindle. O'Ward is next, followed by Alex Palou.
Yeah, 2 good guys, and we got Will Power. Let's talk to him right now after setting that tremendous speed for the pole.
Jake?
Will Power, I'll be honest. When I looked at some of the practice speeds, saw what your teammates did, and saw you, I didn't necessarily think of you as the guy that was going to contend for pole. That's on me. What about for you? Did it surprise you what you had in that car?
No, I knew what I had in practice. I was just got traffic and so on, but I knew that I had to be all but flat through 3-4 if I wanted to have a shot at pole. But the car was really good. Just a slight misshift on the back straight, but can't really go much faster than that for me.
That came with a slight misshift.
Well, just a bad shift because it's a big cut. That's probably why I was a little slower, but yeah. Man, it felt good. I was G'd up to go hard. I tell you, I was just going to send it. Haven't been on pole for a long time on an oval, so it would be nice to get it.
We'll see if it holds. Michael?
With Christian Lundgaard, we just heard from Will Power. Do you know what you have when you get in the car for qualifying, where you stood in practice and kind of what you can expect?
Yeah, I feel like, you go through your run plan in practice and you're kind of dialing the car in, but at the same time, there's traffic, there's cars that come out in front of you, and at the end of the day, we're trying to figure out what trim level to run, and people come out in front of you and you're potentially on a too low trim, and that just makes it worse. So I feel like we took a productive run plan this morning, and I think it helped us in qualifying, but it's just nice to finally have a car that I feel like I can work with, so that's nice.
Look forward to seeing you tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Christian Lundgaard.
Pato O'Ward's qualifying run is underway. 6 starts, 4 podiums. He's been second 3 times here. Lap number 1 is a good one for O'Ward. 179.578 as he sets up for turn 2.
But he's going to have to find a little bit more, though, if he wants to challenge Will Power for pole position. Down the back straightaway, papaya orange and black Chevrolet for Arrow McLaren. Here comes the driver from Mexico. Most popular driver in the series, Mark, off of turn 4.
And that popularity continues to grow. 179.578, 178.803. The 2-lap average, 179.190. Not a pole speed, Davey, but still going to be a pretty good starting spot. Looks like right now he'll set up in row 2.
Well, it looks like the worst he's going to set up is in row 2, because right now he's third quick with 1 more qualifier, so that's going to be impressive.
Kyle Kirkwood right now provisionally is 9th fastest, Jake Query, with 1 qualifier to go.
And he is no stranger, of course, to victory lane within this season in the NTT IndyCar Series. Question is, Kyle Kirkwood, that car feel pretty good for you in qualifying to be one that you can get there up front?
Yeah, I mean, it felt good in qualifying. I'm not really sure where the pace is. I got to go look at it, but obviously it's just a couple tenths off there, a lap or a tenth and a half, whatever it is. But I'm fairly happy with that. I thought I did a decent job. It's just, I guess we'll see how the race goes. But it seems like kind of me and Colton are right there. We'll see how Alex does right here. Hopefully he's behind us.
We'll see what happens. That's Kyle Kirkwood.
And that's the mindset for all of those guys battling it out with him, trying to catch him and close that championship.
Yeah, trying to close it down. They closed it down the last race. He was a DNF, got pushed into the wall down in turn 1 in Detroit, DNF, after having such a huge points gap. Matter of fact, his own teammate offered him a 2-week all-exclusive paid vacation during the season if he'd go take a few weeks off just to try to catch up to him. But right now, he still has bull by the horns when it comes to the points championship, but he has to run good on all these ovals as well.
He finally finally got that oval win in the books, Davey. And if you're going to do it, you might as well go large, which you did.
He got the big oval, Indy 500. That's right, the big oval win. And what a great, I mean, he did a good job. He wasn't there that long, but when time counted, he found himself leading that race.
He's gotten better here. He was 4th a year ago, and as a matter of fact, in 6 starts, Nick Yeoman, he has 3 top 10s at Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Yeah, that 4th, though, is his only top 5, so this has not necessarily been an Alex Palou track, and Lord knows just about every track these days is an Alex Palou track. We'll see what he can do here in qualifying. Green and white, Ridgeline Lubricants, the sponsorship on that car this weekend. Here comes the points leader out of turn 4.
Gets off of turn number 4 and gets to the start-finish line. Lap number 1, surprisingly, 177.979 for Alex Palou, setting up for turn 2.
Yeah, Kyle Kirkwood might get his wish if Alex Palou is behind him. We'll see if he can find any speed down the back straightaway. Goes very low, then swings it to the right, gets a good angle into turn number 3. Pole looks secured for Will Power, but where does our points leader end up? Here comes the Indy 500 champion, sees the checkered flag.
A 177.979, 178.785. The 2-lap average, 178.381. And Alex Palou will settle in to the 9th position, and Will Power will lead the field to the green flag at Worldwide Technology Raceway. By the way, Davey, get this stat. It is the 700th pole across all series for Penske.
Oh wow, that's amazing. I mean, and you look at Will's probably has most of them. That guy, he knows how to get the most out of a car on his own when he's out on the racetrack. He knows how to focus, and I mean, amazing.
He only has 71 of them.
Yeah, he's 71 of those poles. Yeah, pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So Will Power will lead the field to the green flag tomorrow, and he'll be joined by his teammate Scott McLaughlin. It'll be Pato O'Ward and David Malukas in row number 2. Row 3 will feature Josef Newgarden and Marcus Armstrong. In row 4, it'll be Felix Rosenqvist and Colton Herta. Row 5, Alex Palou and Kyle Kirkwood. Michael Young.
Yeah, Pato's getting ready to congratulate Will Power. We'll follow Pato down pit lane here. Inside of row 2, not a bad start for you. Talk about the car.
Yeah, I was super happy with my car. I think P3 is a great starting spot for the show tomorrow, so happy with that. And yeah, I wish we could have gone a little bit more out of it, but yeah, I think it's a great starting spot for tomorrow, and we can do a lot from there.
Look forward to seeing you tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Pato O'Ward starting on the inside of row number 2.
So, Davey Hamilton, we don't have a lot of time to rest because we have to qualify for the Indy next race.
Yeah, it's coming up. I think 6 o'clock is the plan for it, so 20 minutes before they come on, and hopefully they have a good run just like IndyCar, no incidents, and track's getting better as they go. So that's the last time they're on track to the race.
We gave you the top 10, so in row number 6, it'll be Scott Dixon and Alexander Rossi, and then it'll be Marcus Ericsson and Christian Lundgaard starting in 14th position. Daly, Ilott, DeFrancesco, and VeeKay will give you the rest of the starting lineup after we hear from recent qualifiers, including our pole sitter, Will Power.
700 pole for Team Penske, 71st for you as a driver. First since, Iowa in 2023? Is that the last time you got an oval pole?
Yeah, I believe so. I don't know, but I knew it had been a while, so I was pretty determined to get it. I thought, yeah, we didn't get a good run in practice, but after seeing the teammates, a very similar setup and aero settings, so I thought you just got to send it. I really committed there.
You've done so much in your career. How does it feel to still be able to do what you know you can always do?
I love it. I love it, and you know, these little moments that I have, it's just pole. You know, not the biggest deal, but I'll really enjoy it. I enjoy these little things, and it'd be nice to lead the field to green tomorrow. And I would, love to get a win. Love to get a win.
Could this help determine where you end up next year? It's always good to be able to do things like this.
Ah, man, it all helps. It all helps. You know, you got to keep putting numbers on the board, and that's what keeps you in your job.
Big smile. I don't know if you could see him at home on the radio, but that's a great smile. Congratulations. Very happy for you.
Thank you very much.
That's career pole number 71 for Will Power.
Alex Palou will roll off 9th tomorrow, Jake Query.
And Alex Palou is looking right now at that information that tells him he'll roll off 9th. And let's begin with this, and that is, with that effort, did you feel there was more in that Ridgeline machine?
Yeah, I think there was a little bit more. I did a mistake in my first lap.
just with turn 1 and 2, that cost us a little bit. That's why my second lap was a bit faster. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough out there. As soon as you do a tiny bit of a mistake, you go from fighting up there for a top 5 to being almost out of top 10. So yeah, not amazing, but honestly, it's good. We're still standing up front. The car's been really fast. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting race.
You've been in this situation before where you have this massive points lead, and I realize that we still have a lot of racing yet to do, but how do you balance the factor in your mind of being conservative and keeping that lead versus being aggressive and trying to still get those wins?
I think it's still very early on in the season, and we got here by just playing hard and trying to get wins, playing it aggressive on strategies and just moves on track. So we need to keep doing the same thing to try and keep growing that gap and not lose any points. So yeah, I'm happy with obviously the start of the season we had so far, but still really early on. So we need to keep our heads down and keep on trying to keep winning races.
Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Alex Palou will start 9th.
Yeah, it's a great question, great answer, Davey. Bottom line is this: you better continue to drive to win instead of driving not to lose.
Yeah, that's right. No, he's looking forward. And you know what? When you have a championship lead like Alex has, you can do that. You can say, you know what? It's still all about winning. It's all about taking risk. It's all about like let's just keep doing what we're doing. Because if you change that, it could mess everything up. So, hats off to him. He's got. I mean, it's his to lose at this point. Face it. I mean, there's a lot of races left, but he's got a nice lead. He comes out of, these next. We've got 6 races in 7 weeks. I mean, it's busy. So, he comes out of this next month and a half, and we'll know exactly where he stands. But well-deserved. Obviously, he's worked hard to do that. And then back to willpower. I'm happy for him. I think that he's a guy that's good for our sport. I love the humor of Will. I love his emotion. I love him being able to get the most out of a car. But we know he can get the job done. And, there's a lot of talk that his seats, could be up for grabs by David Malukas. And I don't know what Will wants to do. Obviously, it sounds like he wants to stay here. But then there was also some, without talking to him, well, maybe I'll go stock car racing if this doesn't work out. So we'll have to wait and see. But I really hope that he stays with us here in IndyCar.
Coming up, top of the hour, Indy next by Firestone qualifying as we set the field for tomorrow's race. Nick Yeoman and Davey Hamilton will be in the booth for that one. We'll go out and help them call those qualifying laps, and Michael and Jake Query will handle the interviews on the pit lane as they did so well in this show. Stay with us, top of the hour, Indy next by Firestone qualifying. Mark Jane saying so long from now for Worldwide Technology Raceway.